Mortgage rates just dropped to 6.48%. By all logic, the housing market should be on fire. Buyers should be rushing back in. But here is the brutal reality check. Application denials are actually rising. You might think a lower rate means an easier path to ownership. It doesn't. In fact, for many of you, the door just got harder to open, even though the price tag on the loan looks slightly better. Today, we are going to expose the denial trap that is keeping first-time buyers out of homes in high-cost cities and mid-tier markets alike. We will break down why your credit score matters more than the headline rate, and exactly what you need to do to stop getting rejected. On The Money Decoded, we cut through the noise to show you how real estate wealth actually works without the hype. If you are trying to figure out if buying makes sense right now, stick around, because the math has changed in ways most news outlets aren't telling you. Let's start with the headline everyone is reading. According to data from Fred, the 30-year fixed mortgage rate has ticked down to 6.48%. If you remember last month, it was sitting at 6.53%. On paper, that looks like progress. Feels like relief. You might be thinking, great, my monthly payment will finally go down. But here is the trap. A lower interest rate does not automatically mean higher approval odds. In fact, CNBC reports that despite this dip in rates, the number of mortgage applications being denied is climbing. This creates a confusing paradox. Why would lenders say no more often when borrowing costs are technically cheaper? The answer lies in what happens before you even look at the interest rate. To understand this, we need to talk about the health of the borrower versus the price of the money. Think of your mortgage application like a job interview. The interest rate is just the salary offer. But before they make an offer, they check your resume, your references, and your past performance. If your resume has holes, it doesn't matter if the salary offer is slightly better than last month. You still don't get the job. In 2026, lenders have tightened their standards significantly. Why? Because they are scared. After years of volatility, banks are protecting themselves. They are looking at two specific metrics that determine whether you get approved: your credit score and your debt-to-income ratio, or DTI. Most people focus entirely on the interest rate because it's the big number in bold font. But the lender is focused on risk. If your DTI is too high, meaning you spend too much of your monthly income on other debts like student loans, car payments, or credit cards, a lower mortgage rate won't save you. The bank sees your cash flow as stressed, regardless of what the Fed is doing. This is especially painful in high-cost markets like San Francisco, New York, or even parts of Texas and Florida. In these areas, home prices have remained stubbornly high. So, while the interest rate dropped by 0.5%, the principal amount you need to borrow hasn't budged. This means your monthly payment is still massive. And if that payment pushes your DTI over the lender's threshold, usually around 43% for conventional loans, you get denied. The rate drop is a mirage. It looks like help, but it doesn't change the underlying affordability crisis for many buyers. You are still trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, just with a slightly smaller hammer. Furthermore, this dynamic creates a weird bifurcation in the market. In mid-tier markets where home prices have cooled slightly, you might see some activity. But in expensive hubs, the math is still broken for average earners. The rate drop helps those who are already qualified to save a few $100s a month. It does nothing for those who are on the bubble. And that is exactly where most first-time buyers live. They are the ones getting squeezed out. So, before we look at what you can do about it, we need to understand why your personal financial profile has become the new bottleneck in real estate. This is the core insight of today's video. The barrier to entry for homeownership is no longer just the interest rate. It is your personal financial hygiene. Let's break down why credit scores and debt-to-income ratios are killing more deals than high rates ever did. First, let's talk about credit scores. In the past, a score of 620 might have gotten you an FHA loan. Today, while technically possible, many private lenders who service those FHA loans have their own overlays. This means they require higher scores than the government minimum. If you have a score in the low 600s or even high 600s, you are likely getting automated denials before a human ever sees your file. Why? Because algorithms are risk-averse. They see a dip in income stability or a spike in credit card utilization, and they shut the door. A lower mortgage rate is irrelevant if you don't have the credit profile to access it. You need a score of 740 or higher to get the best rates anyway. If you are below that, you are paying a penalty just for existing in the current system. Now, let's look at the debt-to-income ratio, or DTI. This is the percentage of your gross monthly income that goes toward debt payments. Lenders love this number because it predicts default risk. If you make $5,000 a month and pay $2,000 in rent, car loans, student loans, and credit cards, your DTI is 40%. That is already high. Add a mortgage payment to that mix and you might hit 50% or more. Most conventional lenders cap out at 43 to 50%. If you exceed that, you are denied. Here is the kicker. Lowering the interest rate from 6.5% to 6.48% saves you maybe $15 a month on a $300,000 loan. That tiny saving does not move the needle on your DTI enough to get approved. You are still over-leveraged. This is where the denial trap becomes personal. Many buyers think, if I just wait for rates to drop further, I can afford this house. But if your income hasn't grown, and your other debts haven't shrunk, waiting for a rate drop is futile. You are chasing a metric that doesn't solve your actual problem. The problem isn't the cost of borrowing. It's the capacity to repay. This is why we see denials rising even as rates fall. Lenders are saying, we can lend you money at 6.5%, but we don't believe you can pay it back given your other obligations. Consider the rent versus buy math in this context. If you are renting, you have flexibility. You don't have property taxes, maintenance costs, or PMI, private mortgage insurance. If your income dips, you can move to a cheaper apartment. If you buy with a high DTI, you are locked in. Lenders know this. They see that buyers stretching themselves thin are more likely to fall behind when life happens. A medical bill, a job loss, a broken water heater. So they tighten the screws. This is not malicious. It is risk management. But for you, the buyer, it feels like a closed door. The market is no longer rewarding patience with lower rates. It is punishing financial fragility with denials. So what does this mean for your wallet? It means that affordability is a personal calculation, not a national headline. You cannot rely on macroeconomic trends to save you. You have to look at your microfinancial situation. And that leads us to the most important part of this video: how to fix your numbers so you can actually get through that door when it finally opens. If you are realizing that your credit score might be standing in the way of your dream home, hit subscribe. We break down these complex financial hurdles every day so you can make smarter money moves. Okay, let's get actionable. If you are on the bubble, meaning you want to buy but keep getting rejected or worried about rejection, here is how you improve your odds in this specific market environment. These are not vague tips. These are concrete steps that lenders look for. First, attack your debt-to-income ratio. This is usually the biggest hurdle. You need to lower your monthly debt obligations before you apply. Does that mean paying off everything? No, it means strategic reduction. Focus on revolving debt first, credit cards. Lenders hate high credit card balances because it signals cash flow stress. Try to pay them down to under 10% of your limit before applying. This does two things: it lowers your DTI, and it boosts your credit score instantly. Even a small payment can make a difference in the algorithm's eyes. If you have multiple small debts, consider debt consolidation only if it actually lowers your monthly minimum payment. If it just extends the term without lowering the payment, it won't help your DTI calculation. Second, boost your cash reserves. Lenders love seasoned assets. This means money that has been sitting in your bank account for at least 60 days. Why? Because it shows stability. If you are buying a home and you have exactly enough money for the down payment and closing costs, you are risky. What if something breaks during the inspection? What if there are last-minute fees? Lenders want to see that you can survive 6 months of mortgage payments without touching your emergency fund. Aim to keep 3 to 6 months of expenses in a high-yield savings account. This doesn't help you buy the house directly, but it makes you a safer bet for the lender. It shows you aren't desperate. You are prepared. Third, shop around with lenders who specialize in non-traditional profiles. If you have a thin credit file or irregular income, maybe you're a freelancer or gig worker, big banks might auto-deny you. Look for community development financial institutions, CDFIs, or smaller local banks. They often have more flexibility in underwriting. They can look at your whole picture, not just a number. Also, consider FHA loans if your credit is in the 600s. While they require PMI, the barrier to entry is lower. Just be sure to calculate the total cost of ownership, including that insurance premium, to ensure it still makes sense compared to renting. Finally, don't ignore the rent versus buy reality check. If you cannot get approved now, renting is not throwing money away. It is buying time. Use this time to fix your credit, save for a larger down payment, which reduces PMI and loan amount, and wait for rates to stabilize further. In high-cost markets, waiting might mean missing out on a specific house, but it also means avoiding a bad deal that could trap you in negative equity. Flexibility has value. If the math doesn't work, don't force it. The market will always have opportunities. Your financial health is the only thing that matters long-term. The bottom line is this: lower rates don't matter if your credit and debt ratios keep you locked out. Fix your numbers first, and the door will open. Tomorrow, we'll look at how property taxes are shifting in 2026 and what it means for your net worth. See you then.